The crowd's roaring and they bounding for glory. And sparkling water making history. This is a top victory. See it again in Winchester Mansion. Eyeball to eyeball. Here it comes, Winchester Mansion. See it again.
Oriental Charm, naangetela phambili, uflagman ukhona, Royal Victor ukhona. Oriental Charm, watch Lucas and Kaiser bayala, Royal Victor.
The Hollywoodbets Durban July Panel Preview 2025 is powered by Hollywoodbets.
More than just the Hollywoodbets Durban July, more than that, the 11 other races to come your way from Hollywoodbets Greyville. Here's a little bit of help from our panelists on the official panel discussion about the other 11 races on the card to give you a little bit of a heads up for pick sixes, for place accumulators, for the 3 jackpots, or potentially even for the 2 buy-pots or all to comes, or whatever you might be playing into on the day. There's a lot going on. Of course, the first race getting underway very, very early indeed. You don't want to miss the boat. There might be a few pearls of wisdom from the team. So let's pick up those horses through the other 11 races that Justin Snaith, Michael Matthew de Kock, the Hollywood Racing Team, Rachel Venica may have ridden in the past, or Kabelo Matsanyani might be riding on the day. Let's kick off with race number 1. It is, of course, the start of jackpot number 1. Kabelo, let's kick off with you. You get on board number 1, Happy and Earlier for Tini Prinsloo. Out of draw number 1. Can she win this race?
Yes, I think she's definitely capable of winning a race of this caliber, and she's been very consistent in her form, and definitely a horse to include in the bet.
Of course, the first race gets underway at 11:45, and more than that, it will also be the starting point of the Hollywoodbets Punters Challenge, where magnificent prizes are up for grabs. Imagine getting all 12 winners on the card. What about Justin Snaith's charge? You sent out number 5, Daphne's Daughter. Justin, how's she doing going into race number 1 on Saturday?
Look, I think in this sort of division, it's quite tough for her. Her only win ever in her career came in the Eastern Cape. So you'd think I should rather be in a 66 rated race, not an 80. And we're a year and a half down the road, and she hasn't managed to win another race. The good news is I've got her at her best, I think. I've taken the blinkers off, so she'll be racing without blinkers on. Can maybe give her a small chance, but if there's a chance for her to win, I do think it comes on Saturday because she's primed. But as I said, I do think her rating has always been a bit high.
How important would it be for you to set the tone for the rest of your day?
I've been given simple instructions. Win the 2 main races and nothing else matters. So I might have to hold them to that.
Rachel, you sat on a couple of horses in this race. You've got on She's a Machine recently, and, Pour Some Sugar on Me quite well. Do they have winning chances?
Yeah, I think She's a Machine is a little bit in the same boat. It's Daphne's Daughter. She needs to drop a little bit more in the ratings, but she's been quite consistent and racing nicely. To me, Pour Some Sugar on Me, I'd be happy if it was a 14 to say she's got a big chance, but she's such a brave filly. I think she has got a fair chance in this race.
One of the first runners on the day to wear the yellow with the purple stars will be Whirly Bird. Ant, what do you think of Whirly Bird's chances in the first?
Well, her last run was a good run. She was beaten just under a length and a half, and obviously got a good draw, got Shamanga in the saddle. Can't be out of it, but I don't think she's a good thing.
And then Ant, the Hollywood Racing Team have reserved 3. If Izzy Bulo were to get a run, what would your expectations be?
Well, she's been disappointing since winning a maiden and struggling to find her form, so I think she'll struggle in this lineup.
Okay, race number 2 on the card as the Tote Middle Stakes gets underway at 12:25. It'll be on the polytrack over 1,200 metres, a field of 12 plus 2 reserves carded to face the starter. Just one representation here. It's Justin Snaith with number 12, Pink Pigeon. There's something about this filly, Justin. You get the impression that she's still coming into her own.
Look, there's talent here, but my goodness, can she throw curveballs? This is my first runner in, I'd say, about 25 years on July Day that we will be raiding. The last time I actually won a Group 1 with a filly for Dr. Andreas Jacobs in Main Chance. So it's the first time I'm starting to raid again. So this will be the first runner. The bad news is, of the 4 horses that I've raided into the Hollywoodbets Durban July, she's the one that's probably travelled the least. We're having she's she's fine, but I just think she could have travelled better. I made her one of our better ones on the day. The draw was going to be an issue, but I do think that there's so much more in the tank. But as I said, like what I'm dealing with now, she's just a bit quiet after the travelling. I don't think she's a filly that's used to that sort of a long distance, and I'm just trying to get her back to where she was before she got onto the float. So we'll see how she goes during the week, and if I do get her right, she'll be possibly one of the ones to beat here.
Rachel, just two horses I want to quiz you about, Bevy's Delight and Perilla. Let's start off with Bevy's Delight. Peter Muscat, of course, trains, and when I say disappointed last time, she ran in a grade 2. Back to calmer waters, she must have a winning chance.
Yes, I would imagine she does. You know, she loves the step down to the 1200, I think, will suit her. You know, last time only 2.5 lengths behind Green Sapphire, I thought was a really terrific effort from her. So I think she'll be a big contender in this field.
And any tricks with Perilla, because you got the best out of her?
Yeah, Perilla, she is very tricky. Maybe it's the lady's touch. You know, filly, she needs a gentle hand. But 1200, I think, might be a bit on the sharp side for her. But hopefully Raymond Danielson will also have a nice soft touch with her, and maybe she'll be running on well then.
Okay, Raymond with a soft touch. That's an interesting thought. Let's go on to race number 3. It's the Grade 3 Magical Zulu Kingdom Consolation over 2200. And this will be the first race on the turf. Very interesting race, as it always is, because a lot of these horses were aiming for the Hollywoodbets Durbanville, didn't get into the final cut. And they'll be looking to prove a bit of a point. We've got 2 pieces of representation here. Let's start with Cabello. He rides number 9, Field Marshal. Brilliant last run in the Tote Derby behind King Pels. Where's he at? Do you know much about him other than the last time you sat on him? Have you been on him since?
Yes, I've sat on him last week Tuesday at track, and he's feeling very good. He's in a good space. He's fit and ready for the 2-2, and I mean, he's in good spirits as well. His form is looking good. It is going to be a competitive race, but he's definitely a horse that can do very well on the day, and he's got a nice comfortable weight, and the draw is not the worst, and he's a horse that likes to run at them and, you know, just be there off the speed, and I think he'll be doing his best work late.
Justin, Magic Verse, probably one of those borderline cases. You ultimately scratched him in the Hollywoodbets Durbanville at the 11th hour. Was it always the plan to travel him to Durban, considering that he's been based in Cape Town for the winter?
Yes, I mean, I had quite a bit of hope with a few runners, training them out of the Western Cape in the soft ground. Unfortunately, the soft ground never came. So I was racing on firmer ground than was in Natal. So it backfired on us a bit. And fortunately, this is an individual that's very, very sound. He's the second of my 4 Raiders, which is a big thing for me going forward. So for punters, let's see how this plays out. It's going to be a very interesting one for me, and how I'm going to plan my Durban seasons in the future. So I do think he's quite high in the rating. He got penalised for one of his runs, but in saying that, he is a horse that possibly could have run in the Hollywoodbets Durbanville, but we've decided to keep some of our older horses out the race and focus on our younger horses, being 3-year-olds into this race. So horse that's got to go into everything, but certainly no good thing.
All right, on we go to race number 4, first leg of the Pick 6, which is targeted to get 15 million rand on Saturday. Justin's got 2 runners. Let's start with number 7 ahead of the facts, and I'll come to Cabello, then I'll go back to Justin. There's a nice stayer in the making. You've always mentioned the fact that just keep an eye on this horse. As time goes on, he's going to get better and stronger. I'm surprised to see him in Durban, to be honest, but with that said, he looks like he's got a winning chance because he's totally unexposed, and a lot of his main rivals look like they've sort of seen better days, dare I say.
Alistair, after 20 years of having the top weight in this race and getting beat by 50 kilo, there's a point in time in life where you say, if you can't beat them, join them. So I've gone the route of putting a 50 kilo over 3,000 meters. Trust me, weight counts. Including this horse last time carrying 64 kilos in a race over 2,000 meters. He's the dark horse in the race. Do not leave him out of anything. And I can categorically say that Muzi Yeni of 50 is possibly one of the best riders in the world that can ride 50. Don't tell him that. It'll be on Instagram or TikTok or something.
He's in the back of the audience waiting to do the isiZulu show for what it's worth.
Yeah. But you just can't leave a horse out with 50 over 3,000 meters.
What about Future Swing, Cabello? Come to you before I go to Justin. Stamina question marks, yes, but he's a real soldier.
Yeah, he's definitely a real soldier, but, you know, when I looked at his recent runs, it's a catch-22. Do I try and get him to settle over 3,000 meters, or do I just allow him to use his stride and go forward and
Cabello,
hope
I'll
that
help you with that. Don't do what the guy's been doing in the last 2. Settle him.
Okay.
You settle that or it's
So-
game on.
You see, with
I've got the
early
right
insight. So yeah, I think I mean I've watched his run with Smanga in the Gold Cup. I mean he sort of settled quite nicely, and as much as he was traveling, but at least he had cover. And I mean he ran a good race. He only got beat less than a length. So yeah, settle him. He's best weighted in a race, and I think he's gonna be one of the runners as well to look at.
Of the two, Justin, can you split them?
Look, the weight makes a difference. 10 kilos is a lot. But if Cabello can figure out future swing, he's a runner. The last few races, we've been letting him run away with in these races. And to be honest, you can only watch it so many times. So if that's the way to ride him, then fine, we'll go to the front. But I would like to see this horse settled now. It's enough.
Okay, let's go on to the first of the two-year-old features. It's the Splash Out Golden Slipper, Grade 2 over 1,400 metres. Very interesting race. We've got comers from Cape Town. We've also got the locals from Durban, a couple coming down from Joburg, and also a very, very interesting runner from Abeka in the form of the unbeaten Another Dance for Me. Great to have Alan Creef with some representation on Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and the same goes obviously for Gavin Smith, who has cruise control a little bit later on, who we will talk about. But first, let's start with Cabello, one of the boom fillies in the race's Quick Step Girl. Seeing her in the flesh last time honestly blew me away. Knowing that she was all right watching from afar, but then seeing that she was seriously good was a whole different experience. She's got to excite you.
No, she's definitely got me excited. I'd probably make her my best ride on the day. I mean, she's done everything right, building up into this day, and I mean, I can't fault her in anything. She's feeling good, and she's in a good space at home as well. She just keeps improving, she keeps doing better, and I'll definitely make her a run on the day. I think, you know, besides Green Diamond, if Green Diamond wasn't in a race, I wouldn't be really worried, but I think she's one of the horses that you should keep an eye on and definitely include her in all the bets.
And you love the big days, don't you? Especially this one.
Yeah, of course. It's one day where you get to show up and be seen, and obviously it's one day that we all look forward to.
Justin Wild Green started her career with a bang. 2 runs in Durban, been slightly underwhelming. Can she bounce back?
You look at there's one thing about Scottsville is that your horse has to be comfortable in the race. And if you're under pressure at Scottsville, you've got no chance. And she never once was ever comfortable in the races there. All I'm doing here is, because you've got a good draw, is to give her a run and see how the difference between a Scottsville race and Greyville, and see how she likes it and whether it's worth bringing her back again next year. So I'm pretty much just testing the water with her. I do think this is an extremely strong race. There are 3 fillies that absolutely stand out here. And I tell you what, I sometimes look to my selecting committee and wonder how I'm not training one of these 3 horses, because it's going to take, I think a little superstar could be born in this race between the obvious 3 that stand out.
And those, I assume, being the Creef horse, Another Dance for Me, Sean Terry's horse Green Diamond, and the one that Cabello's riding, Quick Step Girl.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go on to the Colts equivalent. This, of course, is the Amoda Golden Horseshoe, a Grade 2. They go 1,400 metres. This is when Mike and Matthew de Kock will be getting out of bed. They've got 2 runners. Let's start with number 1, Yippee Kaye, Mike. Debut win was seriously encouraging. Were you a little bit underwhelmed with the run in the feature race, or do you think that's a nice stepping stone to sort of get into the big league?
Look, I think he's a little bit. He was very green around the turn, and he was running around in the finish. I'm expecting him to improve on that. Whether he can turn the form around, I don't know. It's going to be tough. Draw is always a big help. I think he's a horse that's going to want gelding in time, but he's a horse that's going to win his races. And I think probably, you know, mile is where we're going to be at our best with him. But I certainly wouldn't leave him out of a large exotic.
Justin, out of all your runners on the card, considering you've got the likes of Double Grand Slam, 8 on 18, etc., where does Malmesbury myself fit in terms of the confidence gauge?
In the top 3. This horse has got gears, and it's unconscious. I haven't had a gimme like this ever, to be honest, in a way that his mannerism, we chase him down the track every morning. I mean, 2-year-olds are meant to be the ones that are hard to manage. A lot of confidence going into this race. Hasn't put a foot, touch wood, hasn't put a foot wrong going so far. He makes the training very easy, because normally 2-year-olds can be tricky, shins, this, that. Got gears, and it will take a very smart horse to beat him.
And let's talk about the Hollywood Racing Syndicate team, the runner. Armour Fireball. Looks very, very racy individual. I don't think it was disgraced in the Grade 1 at Hollywoodbets Scottsville last time.
Yeah, I think he actually ran the way, in the manner he over-raced in the race to finish where he did. I think he did very, very well. He really pulled very, very hard in the race, and I think now obviously we removed the blinkers and obviously stepping up in trip. I think if things go his way, he's not out of it. I think obviously Mike will know a little bit more about him, but I think he's a horse that has shown a lot at home. I think his last one was a good run. If you go back and have a look how hard he pulled.
Mark, are you optimistic that this horse can give things a shake?
I'm very optimistic. You know, I think he's quite a nice horse, this. And I left Scottsville, his second start, shaking my head. It was just like impossible that he could run. But if you look at it that day, a number of two-year-olds sort of, you know, didn't run their best. Next time out, their form was 4 and 5 lengths better with the same horses. So we hit the panic buttons a little bit and went for the blinkers, thinking that he wasn't trying. But it was probably the surface that day and just the whole thing at Scottsville, you know, the whole experience. So this is obviously a better trip for him. His mother, you know, was won the Guineas as a funny enough, as a Northern Hemisphere 3-year-old filly, which was quite an effort. But like Justin says, a little bit like his horse, also a bit unconscious. You know, he works well with everything, never blows. You know, so a horse that we sort of haven't got to the bottom of yet. So I think his best days are to come, but I would leave this horse out of nothing. This can run.
Cabello, you and Charming Cheetah, probably the unlucky loser at Hollywoodbets Scottsville in the gold medallion. Bit of retribution out here this time?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got a tough draw to compete with, but he's certainly a horse that has shown the ability, and he was unlucky last time not to win. He's been crying for the trip, and last time at Scottsville also was not in a nice rhythm. There was a lot of movement, looking to run green as well. But he's taken his run well. He's working well at home. And besides the draw, I think he's a big runner on the day.
And Rachel, you've ridden Charming Cheetah. In fact, you won him on debut. And he would have been an unlucky loser had he not won that day, because everyone came to the outside. He had to check and go back up the inside. What type of feel did he give you?
Absolutely magnificent. You know, for a 2-year-old to do what he did and win on debut, in the position we ended up, he was seriously impressive. And, you know, I'll give Cabela the vote of confidence. I think he's a massive runner here.
Yeah.
And you've ridden Porridge Boy before as well. What do you remember about him?
You know, it's quite difficult. He's still a maiden. You know, hopefully he's sort of, I'd imagine, maybe a place chance for him.
Okay, let's now go on to the Ridgemont Garden Province. For me, probably the race of the day. Multiple Grade 1 winners, just horses that are coming here in unbelievable form and unbelievable health at the moment as well. And a Grade 1 is a Grade 1, so it would attract the creme de la creme. But when you look and you see the likes of Double Grand Slam, Raskova, Mon Petit, Cherie, Spumante, Dolce, etc., 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 this race really whets the appetite. So we've got a lot of representation here. Let's start with Mike de Kock with number 2, White Pearl. We actually forget that she's won the Yippie Tombi. She won it doing cartwheels. She is a quality filly. How's she going to go against very, very good fillies here?
Yeah, she is a quality filly, but I think she's probably bottomed out at Group 2 level. That next level into the Grade 1 is the 7 and 8 pounds that she is below rated. Consistent. I mean, I could see her run a 3rd or a 4th or something just because this is the most gutsiest little filly you've ever seen in your life. But I think she is that 8 pounds, 7 pounds short of a Grade 1 filly.
Justin, what do you say about Double Grand Slam? We saw her here at the Gallops for the Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and she obviously went out after the main horses in the main race. She looked a picture. Stiff at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, but this was always the goal, was the Ridgemont Garden Province. So how do you feel just a few weeks down the line from that experience in Maritzburg?
The odd days are... Actually, there's a few days I'd like to forget. Playing golf with you the other day where I played so badly.
Who took the money?
Well, I might as well have given it to Mike before the game. He was hitting it a mile. And the day at Scottsville with this filly. Wow, that was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow because she was so well. And I really think that she's a filly that, for me, that was also part of the aim. There's so few races for her in the Natal season that every one of her Group 1s count. There's no prep races. There's nothing. You literally have come all the way here for those races. So to miss one is very disappointing, especially in the manner that she was working. She's very upset. And when I say that, she normally comes out and shows what the result is. And I can assure you she's very upset.
So Mulberry Missile, you said, was in the top 3. considering 8 on 18 and double Grand Slam was sort of top 1 or 2, is she 1 or is she 2? Or dead heat?
It's a close call, but I'm as confident as I can be. I just feel so much as Philly deserves the win, and I think you'll see what she's made of on Saturday.
And let me just come to you quickly before we go to Mike about Spumante Dolce. Asia Pambile, was it a difficult decision between this race and the Post Merchants? We know how good she is. She ran this race last year. Again, she just never seems to have the rub of the green. So how's she going to go here knowing that she's a really good filly?
Well, the tough part is we drew 14, which is, we were hoping for a good draw. And looking at the field, this is a really competitive field. But saying that, as a 4-year-old, she's really, really doing well. And she's in a very good place at the moment. But it's going to be tough task from the draw.
Mark, you've won this race numerous occasions. And dare I say, with fillies, probably not as good as Spumante Dolce. Think back to Humdinger last year, although she was the biggest fighter around.
Grand Slam was unlucky in that too, if you go and have a look at it.
She was?
I hope she's not unlucky on Saturday.
Do you think you can silence Justin Snaith after this with Spumante Dolce?
Look, I can't look beyond 4 horses. I think there's 4 Group 1 fillies in here that are capable of winning a Grade 1. And she certainly is. She's in a very good space at the moment. I think it's going to be very tough to beat the favourite. I have no doubt in my mind, because she's just got that turn of foot that my filly is more of a galloper, and it grinds and grinds and grinds. And I think you've got to, they're drawn close to each other, 9 and 11. But I think if I had to sit next to double Grand Slam towards the end of the field and we came to the straight and tighter sprint, it's going to outsprint me. So we've got to try and go forward with this filly and try and grind away and try and get ahead of her. But a very capable filly on a day, for sure.
And Rachel, in your experiences of Asia Pambile, who you rode in this race last year, would you have been more confident in the 1200 or more confident in the 16, given her style of racing where she can go and fetch horses in front of her?
I'd be relatively confident in both of her. She's a proper filly. She gives her best. And, she ran a cracker in the Garden Province with me last year. So hopefully she'll be mowing down the front runners.
Okay, you're pretty much objective here. Who do you think would be the horse to beat?
I don't know if I can be objective. I'm a bit nervous with everyone sitting on my left, but I'd probably say double Grand Slam.
Okay, right, on to the Post Merchants. This will be the 3rd and final jackpot on the day. Lots of representation here, so let's breeze through it. Let's start with Anthony, number 3, Cruise Control. He's been around the country. He's done his bit. He's done his best as well. Capable here?
I think so. He's doing really, really well at home. Last time at Maritzburg, he finished 5th, only 4 lengths behind them, and the ground was a bit soft. We're hoping that the ground will be quick on the weekend. I think he's the kind of horse, if he's left alone in front, he'll have a serious chance.
I Am Giant, how badly would he have needed his last run?
He needed it really badly. He's a horse that's doing really well at home and expecting a big run from him.
One horse I'm never leaving out is Ziasha. Disappointed last time at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, but he's shown in Cape Town what he's capable of. He's shown in Joburg what he's capable of, and he's even shown in Durban what he's capable of.
Yeah, he is a smart horse, but he's got his own... If he misses the break, things don't really go well for him. He tends to over-race. He tends to want to pull too hard, and that's exactly what happened last time. He missed the break, and he over-raced. So he's a horse who's got to be able to jump on terms and be just behind the speed. Then he'll have a chance, but he is best over 5 furlong.
And if Hit Them Hard Sunshine managed to get a run, reserve 3, you'll need a lot of luck to get a run, but if he did?
I think it'll be very tough for him. I think he's a better horse over 5 furlong, and I feel the company's a bit too strong for him.
Okay, so those are the horses of Hollywood racing. What about Kabelo Matsanyani's ride? One of the real triers on the South African circuit is Texas Red, real overachiever. Whenever looks like he's got plenty to do, it takes on those hard middle distance horses up in Joburg. He just runs his race time and time again.
Yeah, he's a very honest horse, and he's one horse that deserves to win a feature. His run in the drill hole was a little bit below par, and it was a disappointing run. But in saying that, obviously, from the draw, I committed and ended up doing too much early on, and he couldn't finish. But he came back in the high field, and he won a very confident race, beating White Pearl. So he showed that he's still capable of it. His form is consistent if you just take out his run in the drill hole. And he's got a nice draw, and I think at drop in trip, you'll enjoy it. he is a horse with a short run in, so I think a 1200 will probably suit him better.
Justin, Royal Aussie, what's his best distance?
I just haven't had a season with him in many ways, you know. I arrived here, it was raining a lot. We never got gallops. He came into a race that he'd won the year before, half ready, was disappointing, and then into nothing's really gone his way, to be honest. And here we're drawn widest. So such an honest horse. It's going to be my future lead pony if all goes well. I think he's the nice horse you can't get. And I thought someone with experience like Pierce Stradham from a wide draw might give him half a chance. My other runner, just at the weights, it's just not ideal. I think he's got 60 kilos, a 3-year-old, also drawn badly, but he can run on his day. My goodness, he didn't see the mile. So the good news is we know going forward, all these disappointing runs is when we stick him over a mile. Funny enough, he's Black Cheetah's brother. So there could be dark horses, but from those draws, you're just very, very difficult. I do think My Sensation one draw with it burgled in this race because it's a feature race winner, which is correct. It won, I think, the poinsettia. She comes in with 51.5. Atandiwe on drawn 1. It's just a horse you can't leave out. I mean, obviously, if William Robertson, I'm not too sure what his form's like outside of out of Johannesburg, but I think he's won at Scottsville. He's just a horse you can never counter. He's like a soldier, so give a little bit of respect for him, but certainly a tough race. But what a race to bet on, because you just don't know what might pop up and it's going to pay.
It's a grade 3 in title, but it's close to a grade 1 in class. Rachel, just a couple of horses that you've sat on, Truth and King of the Gauls. King of the Gauls got to be one of the fastest horses around, and then Truth with that high cruising speed, not disgrace a grade 2 level last time out.
Yes, starting with Truth, I rode him in Joburg, gave me a lovely feel. Definitely, from what I felt, suited to the 1200. And King of the Gauls, very, very speedy horse. The 12 might just be a touch on the far side for him, but hopefully Andrew Fortune can keep a lid on him. And if he can, he's come back to himself now. He wasn't quite well in himself in Cape Town. So, all going well, he might be a runner.
Yep, final leg of the pick 6. You'd probably want as many as you can afford going into that. Now, race number 10 off at 6:20. The lights will be on. The light shows will be in full effect. You don't want to miss them on Hollywoodbets Durban July, because what we saw at the Gold Challenge was sensational. I know it's just a light show, but please believe me, it was breathtaking. What we're going to see on Africa's Greatest Race Day is going to be something out of the top draw. It's the Premier Gateway International Handicap, the former Tequila Handicap. They go 1,600 metres. Justin, you've got 3 runners here, Underworld, Rapidash and Get Impressed. The 3 of them, let's talk about them together.
Yeah, very much. This is a race that hopefully we're in a good mood after all the features. But this is a race I really think we're quite strong in, to be honest. I think we almost overloaded a little bit. Underworld is a horse that we just didn't think he would get the 2-2. We looked at it carefully and we were thinking about whether he should run in the main race or not, and decided, because he had a 1 draw here, rather take our poison and run him from what I think is the perfect type of race for him. Give a little bit of respect from Rapidash. He wasn't far off Mike's Superstar, and that has brought him on. I've taken the blinkers off. He over-raced a little bit that day, so he's a horse that's in very good form. He was a work companion today to my big horse, so give respect to him. Get Impressed is in good form. The draw's a little bit tricky. JP hasn't got the best record on him. So it's definitely a race to just see how he goes, and then he'll probably run in the race that he won last year on Gold Cup Day. But he is in very, very good form. As I said, I think I'm very, very strong here as a stable.
Michael Solis Gold, also not a horse that you can ever write out. Calamari takes a ride, cracking run in the Tibashina last time out, beaten less than a length. Where's she at going into this?
Yeah, you could say she's taking a slight drop in class. I'd love her to be in drawn well, because she's another filly that likes to be forward, and she doesn't get it her own way early on, you're going to be in trouble. She's a filly I had in the Garden Province, but I mean, off a rating of a 107, she probably would have run well, get beaten 2 or 3 lengths, and you could get £7 or £8 just for attendance. So it wasn't. This was definitely the right race for her. I think luck in running, she'll be right there.
On to race number 11, the penultimate race on the card. It's a Race Coast B Stakes. They go 1,600 metres. Yet again, a big field of 14, 3 reserves, one of which is already out in the form of Moolah Man. Mark, let's kick off with you. Number 4, Icy Blast. Very good 2-year-old. Probably got handled by the handicapper early days, but coming on off this high 80 mark, he's got to be a danger.
If he stays a mile, you know, I mean, we sort of experiment, you know, with these horses that have got these, yeah, you know, like his rating's coming down a bit now, but, you know, he's sort of sprinted his whole juvenile career. He's by erupt. We're trying the mile. You've got to say it's a big question mark. You know, this is our second attempt at it. The last time on the poly, he just sort of stayed on, didn't give us any confidence to say that he will or didn't. So I would say it's just an experiment, really.
And Hollywood, of course, have Kitchekel. Good winner last time. Ground that out over Rolo the Viking. Now Hollywood Racing's jockey Sean Field gets on board. Can he go back to back?
Yeah, I think so. I think looking at the field, he's got as much chance as anything else in the race. He's in good form, coming in the race in very good form. So I definitely think he must have an each-way chance.
Cabello, you're riding Makazole. At least you won't be out to make pace for 8 on 18 this time around. I know that you wouldn't know too much about him. We'll come to Justin in just a moment, but this horse is plummeting in class.
Yeah, look, I actually rode him on debut, so I know him. He was obviously still green at that time and immature, but his form is a little bit inconsistent. But, I mean, if you can run and gallop with 8 on 18, this is a huge drop in class. And from the draw, obviously, it's he's riding for luck, and he's got a top weight, so I have to ride him conservatively and just give him a chance, and hopefully he finishes off the race strong.
Justin, your remarks about Makazole after that hard run the Daily News 2000 last time. Pull up fine and ready to go?
Yeah, is this in the pick 6, race 11?
No. Third jackpot, though.
Third jackpot. Do not leave this horse out. Makazole. Don't even look at the form. That's just bad training.
And Dawn Till Dusk, I suppose.
I'm now training better.
Was it bad training that the photo went against you last time?
I blame him for Mark. That's a sad reality in Cape Town. If anything's wrong, you just blame him for Mark. The poor guy. Yeah, so he's extremely well. Yeah, so Dawn to Dusk is the 4th of my Raiders. Interesting horse. He's just got, there's a little bit extra there. Certainly a horse that you respect him. As I said, if these Raiders run well, it's going to be very interesting going forward. And that's why I say to the punt, listen, I wouldn't leave out of Makazole out of anything. Dawn to Dusk is also a danger in this race, but it's very, very competitive, and we just need a bit of luck from the draws.
On to the 12th and last race. I say the two hardest races that you study are the first and the last, because the first to get off to a good start and the last to get out of trouble. So let's hope that it goes according to plan, whichever way you're looking at. The Gagasi FM Class 4, 1,400 metres, back on the poly. Let's start with Anthony. Hollywood Racing got Ishi Quishy Quishy. What a run from a break at the penultimate. What happened last time?
I feel that his run came too soon. His second run came too soon to his first run after a long break. It was really a good run, and I think... and he also raced in the open. He was sitting second with no cover. He's the kind of horse that does like a little bit of cover. I think the step up in trip is definitely going to suit him. And I think this is Hollywood Racing's best run on the day.
Oh, very interesting. Good news that. What about African Prince, Justin? Number 7 on the card, JP Vanamava gets on board. Never beaten by far, but he's just battling to break through.
Another horse I've trained badly. Wrong distance. So we brought him up to Natal, had him in all these 1200s, and only through bringing him here and training him on different tracks, we realized he's looking for a little bit further. So another one, don't leave him out. He's really flying at home. And if you're going wide, do not include him in everything. He's in very good form. And as I said, I should be shot for running him over 1200s, because going forward, I think he's going to be a 1,400-meter horse miler. But we've come into this day very strong. We've learned a lot from the last 2 years on this day, and I'm hoping that it pays off, and we look for a very successful day and evening.
And Cabello, final word from you. You ride Dapper, who you've ridden twice on the last 3 occasions and hadn't gone really, really close. Learned anything about him that can get him across the line this time?
Yes, I've learned a lot about him, actually. You know, we ran him in 1200 when he just moved yards, and he ran a very impressive 4th at Scottsville, and we went a mile. It was a bit disappointing. And he's also a horse that he's just in between. He's more for 1,200 meter, 1,400 meters will probably suit him the best. In a 1,200, you'll sort of almost outsprint it a little bit and to try and catch them. He doesn't really have that tenor foot to instantly catch them. But 1,400, I think, will suit him. He's a type of horse. He just likes to be off the speed, and he is a horse with a short run-in, but I think if he's a well-timed ride, yeah, he can definitely be a horse to be included as well.
So I trust that has been of value of the other 11 races on Hollywoodbets Durban July Day. It's not often that you fill a room with grade 1 success like we've got in the form of Justin Snaith, Mike de Kock, Anthony Delpesh, Rachel Venica and Cabello Matsunyani, but we thank them for their time to take you through their runners, and we also wish them all the very best on Saturday, the 5th of July. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been of great help for you all. May you catch the pick six. May it be the day of your dreams. May you win the Hollywoodbets Punters Challenge. All the winners are found here in the winning form. So get your edition and see what it's all about, and come say hello on Saturday the 5th of July for Africa's greatest horse race.
The Hollywoodbets Durban July Panel Preview 2025 was powered by Hollywoodbets.
Where could everyone be? Where has everyone gone? Are they just hiding, or have they moved on? Where could everyone be?
Where is everyone?
Everyone's watching the race that unites Mzansi, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event, the Hollywoodbets Durban July.